However, City Power is currently embarking on a cut-off operation in Alexandra, north of Johannesburg, targeting illegal connections. They began on London Road, an area that is traditionally problematic for the power utility. This is also part of the load reduction strategy to help lower consumption. With pliers in hand, City Power employees are cutting off electrical cables, all connected illegally in the area. Some of the cables and wires run from street lights right across the busy London Road to connect those in the nearby informal settlement. The cut-offs are under the watchful eye of law enforcement officials, as City Power employees are often threatened by residents when they attempt to disconnect illegal power supply. SABC News reporter Criselda Lewis is tracking the story and joins us live. Good afternoon, Criselda. We've been monitoring what's been going on your side based on the footage you're showing us. What's developed since we last saw you?
Well, Nastasia, a very good afternoon to you. So a City Power's operation, which started this morning in Alexandra Township here in Johannesburg, has come to an end. But what you can see here next to me is a truck which is filled with these illegal connections that they managed to dismantle from several areas around Alexandra. What we do know is that over the past 2 months, City Power spent in the region of about 300 million rand trying to fix some of the substations that have blown up as a result of overloading. Now, what you see here is just some of the cables that have been running on top of houses, that have been running on trees as well. People trying to basically erect anything, anywhere, in order to ensure that they have electricity. So it's been an operation with City Power and a number of law enforcement agencies. You'd know in the past, we've had situations where City Power has tried to do its job in trying to remove these illegal connections due to the pressure it's been putting on infrastructure. You would know that some of these areas where this actually takes place is areas where they would go without electricity for a couple of weeks due to the overload that is taking place. And a number of protests that we've also seen in the Alexandra area, where they've gone without power for quite some time, due to some of the illegal connections that have been made in this area. So this is just but one of the trucks that is filled here today with some of course, these wires and what else do you call these? Wires and cables, indeed. Thank you very much. And the cables that have been, cut from houses. But of great concern, of course, is the danger that is also associated with this. We've seen children, that have been walking next to some of these cables that are running across some of the main roads here. What we also know and have reported on for quite some time is a number of people that have died and have also been choked by some of the live wire that has been put there. In conversation with some of the residents in Alexandra, they're calling on City Power, of course, to put up electricity in these areas. City Power says it's been trying to do that. It's tried to engage with some of the residents to do this, but you do have pockets in these particular areas of communities that don't want to pay for some of these services. So, City Power was telling me a bit earlier on, and in fact, I'm going to try and bring in the spokesperson in just about a moment, Isaac Mangena, who told me that at some point, you only had about 9% of the community that had been paying for electricity in this particular area. It's at 11% now of the revenue, am I correct, Isaac, that is coming from Alexandra. Talk to us a bit about what the quantity of what you've managed to get today and how this is impacting on City Power.
Thank you very much. I think we managed to, let me start by saying we had a successful operation, and I think even though there was some conflict with the residents, it was not that big because of the presence of the SAPS, JMPD and other law enforcement agencies. Yes, Alexandra is one of those areas where we are basically suffering in terms of revenue collection. Only 11% of the residents, which is an increase from last year where we were sitting at 4% of the residents basically buying electricity electricity. And what we have gathered actually as City Power is that most of the residents in Alexandra do want to pay for electricity, especially in those formalized houses. And we've embarked on a program to basically install meters in most of this area so that everyone can be able to purchase electricity, because they appreciate the fact that there's a lot of investment that goes into the infrastructure in terms of the upgrades, in terms of the repairs, in terms of the material that we need to basically put in. Where we were, we've replaced about 5 mini substations in a space of about 2 months. That is a lot of money, 700,000 each of those mini substations. So we really welcome the fact that the residents want to pay, but we still have those pockets where we've got illegal connections, like where we were this morning, because of the people coming to Joburg, not having places to stay. They basically just find spaces and they set up informal settlements. That area where those people are, it's very dangerous area. You saw that they're actually under our pylons that are carrying about 88,000 volts of electricity. Should then anything happen there, now City Power will have a problem that you have actually electrified people that are actually in a dangerous space. So we're talking to housing so that those people can actually be removed from where they are and they can get proper housing and they can actually be housed properly, like the people.
All right, Isaac, thank you very much. We've been speaking to Isaac Mayena, who's the spokesperson for City Power throughout most of this morning. And I mean, this is extraordinary what we've witnessed since this morning. This is just only but one truck where I'm sitting at the moment, where you've got meters and meters of these cables and these wires that have been pulled from these houses here in Alexandra. I guess a lot of education that City Power has embarked on, to try and educate these communities. Some of these areas where these, cables have been set up are increasingly or incredibly there in the region of 300 million, 4 substations over the past 2 months. You've had to fix that at 750,000 rand each of those substations. So you can only but imagine what the cost of fixing all of this is. Some of these areas, like the ones that Isaac Mangena speaks of, is one of the areas where it's very difficult for City Power to put electricity there due to the density of the area. But certainly this is a challenge that they consistently have to deal with while they try to pull these out. The very next day, they're back up again, essentially, Anastasia. But the operation itself has come to an end, and quite a lot of work has been done. Law enforcement has also been out in their numbers with this team to try and ensure that this operation does go ahead with success. There were pockets of residents that were quite irate about having these illegal connections being removed. It's back to you in studio.